Hey there, welcome to the August 6th edition of the Coffee Solo audio program. I'm your host, Dan Hugo. We are recording this at 12:32 in the morning on Wednesday, August 6th, 2025, making this episode 2025-080601. Or you can just click out the most recent episode and you'll find this very one. The title, which I have prepared ahead of time, So Much Reaching to the Stars, or a larger audience perhaps. The program is becoming more available to more people, hopefully. There are some show notes. You can see them in the original Ko-fi.com/danhugo/posts section. The show notes with a summary and the links. I have prepared an outline of a few topics to cover. I was almost going to start recording this last night, but I figured, I'll make it officially early Wednesday morning. So let us begin with the summary of today's episode. It took longer than I anticipated, but my various media efforts are now available as YouTube podcasts and as Apple Podcasts, with more coming, ? The links for today's episode, of course. The main place to find all of my various programs, links to them, and projects and affiliate links for a few things and so on. buymeacoffee.com/danhugo, my other coffee link. You can find the Buy Me an Update audio program published not exclusively anymore. buymeacoffee.com/danhugo/posts. And if you found this audio program you're listening to now on the Ko-fi.com/danhugo/posts series of audio program episodes, great. But you can also find this Coffee Solo program via Spotify for Creators. I have a link to that profile page. I also have a link for Buy Me an Update, also on Spotify for Creators. So those profile pages have links to Spotify and Amazon and Apple Podcasts and so on. And so that I accomplished a couple days ago, the addition of Apple iTunes, and I think both Amazon Podcasts are working, the last time I checked. And then we now have both of these audio programs, Coffee Solo and Buy Me an Update, published on my personal YouTube Dan Hugo channel. So it's youtube.com/@Dan Hugo, DANHUGO. I know I have trouble spelling it sometimes too. So you can visit there. Both of the podcasts are published there via RSS, and then YouTube makes them into actual videos. It'll just be the cover art as the video image, as far as I'm aware. Actually, I have to be honest, I haven't watched them yet or tried them, because I was uploading all of my content and it actually took a couple of days. So everything is now also published on YouTube across my catalog of work. So this will be a work in progress like everything else. And finally, the Nasal Fresh MD affiliate link, which I'm a big fan of. I only provide it here because some people do also have allergy issues, as I have had. I think I've finally come up with a combination of things to do that will ideally make my my breathing and my speaking just easier. I am particularly allergic to the air in the greater Vegas area. When I used to travel a lot for Intel, I found that I just had my experiences in other places, other climates, other particulates in the air, other allergens floating around, something in the water, who knows? But I always had a different experience. I really had a good time in Dublin as far as breathing and speaking and some other things. So yeah, Nasal Fresh MD, I do use it. I didn't use it today. I was thinking about doing it right before I started recording this episode, but that usually just causes, it's hard to describe, but I don't want to be too graphic, so I'll just say I'll do it after. But yeah, there you go. So a little bit about my YouTube's adventures, YouTube story, adventure stories, something. So YouTube account verification is sort of oppressive. I think they've added the photo ID, or maybe they haven't. I can't remember now. I know it's becoming more pervasive in general, checking that you are over 18 or human, who knows? Uh, but it is sort of impressive. They either have you supply the front and back of a photo identity of some sort, identification card. So it could be a driver's license or a state ID card, which is not good for driving, or a passport. I have 2 of those. My passport is actually expired. Not much use for it for the next couple of years, probably. But I did the photo ID for a couple of them. The other option is you can post I think it's a 6-second video or something. You are to, it's a browser-based thing. You take a QR code image. It opens up something on your browser. You log into your whichever Google account is associated with what you're trying to accomplish. And then you turn your head to the left and then to the right, kind of a mugshot. And then they will figure out if you are human, I guess, and of legal age and who knows what else. Put you in the crime database. Or you can be on good behavior for 2 months, which is kind of weird. But anyway, I was allowed to submit a video for one, and it was actually the Dan Hugo account that now contains all of my Buy Me an Update and Coffee Solo episodes from episode 0 for both to now and into the future. So that's nice. So I did the photo verification, and then that was disabled for the other ones. So my Cafe Genius uploads, and then my FFS Talk and Quaggling Sand, and then also the Let's Innovate for Vegas audio program. That one is kind of separate because I'm using our foundation email address, and so it's not attached to me personally. It's attached to the media email address and so on. So there's a separate account, all that. So that's kind of separate. I don't have that one on Apple Podcasts yet, and because I don't want everything. Like if we ever part ways, I don't want my name to be, or my accounts to be attached to things. Oh, Dan, we need your password, or you need to hand over. You need to transition ownership of the podcast feed or the account, whatever it is, right? So I'm just starting out with using foundation accounts. I did that with our banks. I've done it with our payment processing for donations. So everything is just from the get-go associated with the foundation identities. So that's fine. But anyway, so I submitted, what would that be? 3 photo ID transactions. And those are fine. And then I have one more, which I do intend to be like a live stream or whatever channel. There's not really much going on there yet. That one I can do a photo, unless they've updated that again. I can do a photo verification. So I don't know what's going on with Google. What on earth are they doing? But I guess they're doing what everybody else is doing at this point with draconian identity policies. I'm assuming we'll eventually have to send a drop of blood or who knows what else. And who are we normies to do anything about it? So whatever. So yeah, I will update the Buy Me a Coffee profile page. So all of the YouTube channel goodness will be visible if you, like so many other people, like to listen to podcasts on YouTube. Now, I also would very much like to occasionally do some video, or I could probably integrate some imagery or something. So there'll be some aspect of these channels that I think I can do something cool with. I don't know. We'll find out. We shall see. But I do need to up my game when it comes to reach. So publishing to more outlets is a part of that, but it, of course, is all against the very notion of RSS in general. The original notion with RSS, as Adam Curry and Dave Weiner to some extent. Dave Weiner, the notion of RSS was Dave Weiner's. The notion of podcasting, Adam Curry. So the general notion was, you should just be able to publish this and others can subscribe to your feed and they can download the content, the links to it, or the enclosure for the audio file, the MP3 file, usually. So you really shouldn't have to verify yourself. So it really comes down to the likes of Apple and Amazon and YouTube saying, oh, wow, we'll take your RSS feed if you can prove who you are. So that's sort of, it goes against the notion. So these are crystal palaces, the fortresses of solitude, whatever. Not a fan. I'm also not a fan of RSS 2.0, by the way. I think RSS 1.0, the RDF site syndication, should have been explored more, and I think it fits better into the modern federated world with activity streams and activity pub and machine learning, having built-in triple support. The network graph between objects embedded in an RSS feed, for example. Kind of interesting, but I digress. I need to publish some websites for these various productions, so I own the primary point of publication. I don't want Spotify to decide that I'm a pariah of some sort, or YouTube to kick me off for some unknown policy violation, or who knows. Oh, by the way, I did have one FFS Talk episode, which I, for some reason, have just enough of Welcome Back, Cotter, Welcome Back, the theme song, to trigger their copyright warning. It's not a strike, but if I were to monetize, which I am not, then I would lose out on monetization of that episode. So, okay. In the meantime, I need to reach out on alternate media. That is, I cannot reach more people to listen to my productions within those productions. So if I tell people already listening to my audio programs to listen to my audio programs, that kind of limits the audience, limits the reach. So I need to do website. I'm not really a big fan of the pile that is the usual social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. I barely use Blue Sky. I'm more of a fan of Mastodon, but I barely use that now. So I need to get back into my game. The In Las Vegas project will probably be my main focus when it comes to that. But a website presence and pushing that elsewhere are the next couple of steps. So making sure I publish I can publish buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo, and right away you get you're trying to make money from me. You asked me for where my podcasts are. I'm telling you there's a page at this URL that has all of that information. I don't care if you spend money there. That's what I tell people all the time. But it's not a great, it's not a great look, I guess you could say. So, in the meantime, I'll tell you, if you are listening, to check out the Buy Me a Coffee profile page. Ironically, in the links, my other coffee in the links for this episode. And I will hopefully have added the YouTube links now that as of yesterday on Tuesday, it was Tuesday evening when all the uploads had completed. So you basically say, I want to create a new podcast. Here's the RSS feed. It sends you a confirmation email, of course, because YouTube is still YouTube. You respond to that, and then it begins uploading. So this audio, the Coffee Solo audio program, has 30 episodes or something, or some small number. That got done pretty quickly. The Let's Innovate for Vegas audio program, I think, has 130 episodes. So that took 2 days. It literally stopped. It said there's 25 more to upload tomorrow. I'm tired. I'm gonna pause. So the uploading continued. I did publish an episode of Let's Innovate for Vegas on Tuesday, as usual, Tuesday morning. And so it did properly pick up the new edition on the RSS feed. It updated that items remaining to upload, and then it said, we're still going to do it later. And it did eventually. So they're all published, and that's fine. I got to create playlists because the videos are just dumped in there. So depending on what we do with that, being able to say, here are the podcast videos, you can listen to the podcast itself, etc. So good times. So more steps forward. I have the YouTube links. I did publish everything except for Let's Innovate for Vegas on Apple Podcasts and, again, Amazon Music. And so those links are available in the Spotify profile pages, which are that's what all the links are on the Buy Me a Coffee profile. So YouTube is separate because it's not included in what Spotify publishes on their thing, I guess, because Spotify and YouTube are competing on the video side. And then Let's Innovate for Vegas. I got to get an Apple account. I think we are published on Amazon and we are on YouTube. So just got to add Apple. So neat. More ways to listen to me. And I really, really, now that we have YouTube as an option, configured, ready to go, I'm thinking really we need to bring back some of the video side of interaction. So for example, if Let's Innovate for Vegas has a hackathon, I think we could do some video stuff there. I would really like to, if we can get guests to join in, I would like those to be video conversations, and then we can publish them as audio, but we can also publish the video. So that makes the conversation more normal because you can see each other, assuming we can all see, you can see each other while you're interacting. So you're not interrupting each other and so on. So I think there will be a video version, and then the audio essays will continue. That's my plan. So that's the idea. So yeah, we'll see. Speaking of annoying, my upstairs neighbor finally showed his cars yesterday. I wrote today, but it's really yesterday. Noisy Raymond. I've done a couple of episodes or partial episodes of this very audio program about him. Was heard once I called the leasing office. I called security. I'm like, okay, he's playing music. Guitar. I'm like playing guitar, and I think singing, some really awful singing. I'm like, look, I'm all for people playing music. That's great. I'm not for having an amplifier on the floor, so I have to deal with it because I was trying to record an episode of Let's Innovate for Vegas, and he's playing his guitar. I'm like, this is screwing up my recording, and why do I have to listen to his music? Like, we're supposed to be adults now. We're not in college dorms and so on. So everybody's been like, oh, totally get it. He shouldn't be doing that. But finally, he was playing music for long enough and loud enough. I mean, ridiculously loud. You could hear it down the hallway upstairs. Normally, you're like, oh, I can't hear it through the door, but you can hear it through the floor. No. This was not the problem. It was ridiculous, and it wasn't very good. It wasn't Jimi Hendrix playing guitar. That might be like, well, it's loud, but it's also good. No. Yeah. So maybe call me a complainer if you want, but it's ridiculous. I am spending too much. I am spending time and frustration points on all of this boggles the mind. I wrote the bind, but it's really the mind. This is not something I should be wasting my time on, but unfortunately, I get woken up sometimes. There's all manner of chaos, and I've been trying to get this addressed for months. So this is the world we live in, though. There are so many worse things going on that I suppose I should be counting my small wins, that I only have a ridiculously obnoxious upstairs neighbor who apparently prances around. Like I hear it's not footsteps, it's more like scrambling. I can't even explain it. I did bring up the notion of making a Noisy Raymond podcast with the people in the leasing office today, and they said they want the link if I do it. They found that hilarious. So yeah, good times. Speaking of that, good times and small wins. My right ankle continues to improve. I've talked about this several times. I have walked like a normal person with a reasonably normal return to a normal gait for me. I've walked my half circuit around the neighborhood a couple of times this week. So that ends up being, it's not exactly half, but it's 35 minutes of walking. So the fact that I was able to do it basically same time as usual was good. So that means my gait is almost normal. Minimal limping, I could say pain, but it's really, it's more dull pain, like sore pain. And really the big problem is I feel uncoordinated just because I haven't been walking like I normally was. So my everyday walks have been off the table for 2 months. So now it just felt weird. So, but good. It was good to get back into that. So now I will go for the full circuit, which is just like a hair under 3 miles. So the half circuit is not 1.5 miles. It's, I think I think it's closer to 1 3/4 miles or something like that. I do know this because I have the GPS tracks, because that's how I roll. So I could look that up right now, but I'm not going to, because life is too short. We don't have to worry about it. It's a nice walk. I will try to do my normal daily walk, and then I'll return to the gym, which is 1 mile each way. So about 3 miles of just normal walking during the day, and then I head to the gym later at night. I return victorious to my normal way of living, I suppose, plus the time at the actual gym. So that's all progress, which is nice. I'm looking forward to it. Here's a funny one. An Amazon Vine package. So I did not pay for it. I did want to review it. It was a cool item. It was delivered on July 26th. Or was it? I think what ended up happening, the Luxer One, Luxer, Luxer One manages the mailroom cameras, security cameras, and the lockers. So if you're familiar with the Amazon lockers, you can get your package delivered to a locker. These are just like that, except they're not owned by Amazon. So the driver, delivery person, it was an Amazon delivery, placed the package into a locker, and the driver took a photo. And because of some branding that's on the locker rack, I guess, I could tell exactly which locker. Oh, okay. So I never received a notification. There was my package was, for all practical purposes, not delivered. So I was like, okay, I have a picture, but I don't know where it is. So I sent an email, and it was actually on I think I sent it the next day on the 27th. So July 27th, here's the picture. So it's in a locker, but I never received a notification. So I get a response from Luxer One, which was amazing, because they have really fallen off on their quality of customer support. It's been an F for the last 12 to 18 months by comparison. I mean, they used to be really on the ball. I used to actually think, wow, this is actually pretty cool that you get to figure out where your thing is. If you receive a delivery and it's not there, I would email, hey, do you have any idea where this package is? You know, if they didn't leave it in a locker, or before they had the lockers at all, which was about 18 months ago. And we did a video review, and we can see that the Amazon person didn't actually, I don't know how they were able to see when, like that. I don't know how they were identifying my package, but it looks like they didn't actually leave it. So they scanned it, and I think, because I would give them the time, so they probably looked, 1 minute on either side. Probably what they saw was somebody taking it out. They have these bins that they roll into the mailroom because they're doing a large delivery to many people. And they said, he didn't actually leave it. So they probably saw him him or her put it back into this bin and forget about it. So most of the time, about half the time, I would actually get the package, but it would be like 2 days later, because somebody would say, hey, why is this here? Isn't this delivered? And by the way, Amazon package tracking in that scenario is out the window. So you never know it's going to come back. You don't know what's going on. Very silly, because it happens enough that you would think they would have that accounted for, but no. So in this case, I said, hey, so I never received a notification. Is the package in the room somewhere? And I did get a response. I think it was another 2 days after that. And it said, can you send us the delivery time, the specific time, and the whatever. So I answered their questions. And then I got another message the next day that said, we were going to do a video review, but it turns out the video cameras in the mailroom are not functioning. And I thought that was hilarious, because I'm going to wager, one of two things happened. One, they recently painted the mailroom, a fresh coat of paint on the floor and wherever else. They didn't move the locker, so it was mostly the floor. They painted it a nice gray with some yellow safety lines, some contrast lines on a ramp and on an edge that you could trip on. So, okay, very nice. When they did that, they did not turn back on a glass front refrigerator that they have in the mailroom, which is a nice touch, by the way. So points for that. That is not a Luxer One thing. That's just, it's been there the whole time I've been here. So if you receive, I don't know, Farm Dog or what's the Home Fresh or Healthy Fresh, whatever it is. If you receive meal prep or food deliveries of some sort for you or your pets, medications, whatever. Very nice, but they didn't turn it back on. And there were packages in there. So this was like 2-3 weeks ago, maybe. So I'm like, oh, I wonder if they bumped the cameras or did something, something got broken. But then it turns out the next day there was an announcement, an email came through. We are working to address the Luxor One locker failures. Whoa. Stop talking. I'll have a comment about the Amazon products for that you just heard, if you heard that. So we get this notification that they're working to fix or repair or to address the Luxor One lockers being down, which was utter mayhem. The mailroom now has no working lockers. So packages everywhere. Some of the delivery people just throw, like, here's everything, and they dump it out and they leave. Other people put them in piles. So one person, I had 5 items that were all Amazon Vine items. They were all stacked up. So I'm like, oh, these are all mine. All 5 of them are piled on top of each other, separate. If I could tip the guy, I don't think they take tips. Maybe they do. I don't know. I know they have the thank my driver thing, but just becoming total chaos. So I was like, oh, I guess it's probably that. I don't know why the cameras were not working. Hopefully that would be a separate system failure. This is actual lockers opening, checking in a package, sending a notification, all that. So both things impacted me, as it turns out. So yesterday, I get a notification out of nowhere. I have a new package. Okay. I go down there. I go to open. Hey, it's the same locker from July 26th, which I had not received a notification for. Okay, so maybe my package has been in there the whole time. That's kind of ridiculous. So a completely different locker opens when I punch in the code. I'm like, oh, that's not mine. There's an item in the locker for someone else. I said, okay, that's not right. So I sent another email and I said, hey, I got a notification of a package, but there was this mismatch. It said one on the display, and then, this is the package is in this locker, and then it opened a different locker. Oh yeah, there's a thing. Hand wave excuses. You can work with the property management to try to get the package. And I said, hey, I think I've been through this already. Here's a different issue, which is actually the same exact issue. And you said you were working with property management to try to see what was going on. So it sounds like you should already know what's going on. And then they said, well, the locker is still active, so we'll send you another code to open it. I'm like, okay, I don't really want to spend a lot of time on this. Including talking about it, I've spent because it's a $0 delivery from Amazon. Now I like Amazon Vine. It's been fun. I've reviewed, how many things have I can tell you that. I can tell you that real quick. I have reviewed, maybe not that quick. I have reviewed 132 items. That's pretty good. I have 79 items yet to review. Not all of them have been delivered. I'm going to say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of those have, no, more than 6. Maybe, I'm going to say 10 are somewhere in transit of those remaining 79. 79? Yeah. So it's fun. Free stuff. You never know what's in the list of things to select from. And these are all things I select myself. I've mentioned this before. So sometimes I'm like, a lot of my reviews are like 5 stars, 4 stars. But then I remember these are items I'm selecting. So I'm not just receiving a random, loot box. I'm not receiving a loot box full of random, oh, what is this? These panties don't fit me. So there are things I am selecting, and I'm selecting, I got a manual knife sharpener, and it's one of those rolling, it's like a cylinder, and it rolls. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So I'm sure it will either be a 4 or 5 star thing, or I'll trash it if it's crap, because I'm honest. I use it. I give it an honest review. Anyway, so the item in question, I'm like, oh, this would be cool. Oh, I'm not going to get it. Okay. No love lost. On to the next thing. And by the way, so I marked it as not delivered. Amazon's like, okay, they take it off my list of things to review. So there really should be 80 items to review. And that's it. And if the package is actually here, fun fact, Amazon does not care. They're like, well, you don't have to send it back. You just, you get to keep it. It's just not worth the expense of tracking all of the thing, right? So kind of interesting. I have experienced all of the weird, I think I've talked about this in a previous episode of this very audio program. Not all, but certainly several of the delivery mistakes. Delivering to the wrong address, some other place in the greater Vegas area, not next door, but like a long way away. Occasionally, I will see packages delivered here that are intended for a, what do you call it, urgent care center across the street. And it'll be like refrigerate or urgent delivery or something. Like, so somebody literally just dropped this in the wrong place and left, and nobody's been like, hey, this looks important. So I have done that twice now. I walk across the street with a box and I'm like, hey, this was delivered across the street. And then they look at me like I did it. Why is it over? I don't know. Dude, I just saw it and I said it was important. So this is a courtesy. I'm just a normal citizen doing my thing, trying to make the world a better place. But I get this side eye look. Geez, why help anyone, really, when you think about it? So we're just surrounded by apathy and weirdness. That's the nature of the beast. So Luxor One has ended up being less good over the last 18 months, which is the take home. I've just not been very happy with it. I used to be happy the place where I lived before I I still live here in my current location. The place where I used to live is, I'm going to say just over 15 minutes of walking, and I would be in the other place where I lived. Here, the doors open into a hallway. Where I used to live, the doors opened outside. So, and this was very near an elementary school. And the elementary school could see when a UPS truck or a FedEx truck or an Amazon van or whatever, because the place where I used to live was sprawling a bit, so they could spot, oh, look, deliveries. I'm going to assume that the elementary school kids would be like, hey, let's go over there and do some shopping. So I reached a peak package theft rate of 75%, which is outlandish. And I mean, to their credit, I suppose, Amazon would always be like, okay, we'll credit you. We'll send you another one. We'll credit you, whatever. Like they were very accommodating. And I'm like, you guys need to deliver these packages to the leasing office. They have a whole mailroom set up that they manage. There's not even like, lockers, but there's no key code access. You had to actually walk into the leasing office and talk to the people there, and they would go get the package and you would sign it on a clipboard. And I'm like, that dropped the theft rate to zero as long as people would do, oh, the leasing office was closed. Okay, well, the package got stolen, so bummer. So when I first moved here, it was night and day. I'm like, it's so nice that the packages they're there. Here they are. And we didn't even have the lockers yet. We just had these like cubby shelves, like the IKEA grid shelves. I'm sure you've seen these. So I'm like, okay, this is nice. But Luxor One has sucked for the last 12 to 18 months. So it's unfortunate. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. Never anymore. What else? Oh, there's DEF CON is this week. It starts tomorrow, Thursday, here in Vegas. So I always tell people, don't bring anything electronic if you're visiting Vegas. Just leave your phone at home, your laptop. Don't connect to any Wi-Fi. Nothing. Do nothing. Come here with a notebook and a pencil. You're better off. But yeah, DEF CON 33, I think it is this week. I've never been to DEF CON, and I'm not particularly interested in going. But okay. And then next week, there's a hackathon. They call it a hackathon. And I signed up for it. I'm like, okay, it's AI crap. I'm like, I'll just go and see who's there. And because I really haven't been socializing too much with the people in that part of the spectrum here. But the schedule, it's the event, the hackathon starts at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And it's done by 10 p.m., 9 p.m. maybe. So there's networking, there's presentations, tech talks or whatever. And then the actual hackathon is like 90 minutes. And I'm like, that's not a hackathon. That's a workshop. That's a hands-on, learning. That's it. So they think a hackathon is 90 minutes. And I'm like, geez, I've been to hackathons that were 48 hours, staying awake for 48 hours or longer, 50, 52 hours. So I'm not impressed by this. So I'm on the fence as to whether I will actually go, because it is far south of here where I live. So it will take a while to get there. And I don't think I will be plussed by it. And then there's some other stuff. There's a LV robotics presentation that I might attend later in August. That will be, there's somebody on the panel that I have had massive disagreements with. And there will probably be people in the audience that I do not care to be in proximity to. So it'll be an interesting social experiment. In the meantime, I've been trying to grow my LinkedIn network with modern connections. In the present day, I've found, like, I had 3,200 connections or something. I've been a LinkedIn user since, when did they launch? 2003, I think it was. So I think it was my 20-year anniversary. So it was either 2003 or 2004. So it was August. I think they launched in May of that year, whatever year it was. And I joined in August. I'm like, oh, cool, live business card. It has taken a dive. It's ridiculous. It's garbage. But the network is still useful, like making the actual connection. I just don't want to keep posting. I don't want to read people's junk. Hey, here's how to get more followers on LinkedIn. Like, yeah, I don't care. But I've noticed that none of the people on LinkedIn actually communicate. So they take an invitation to connect, and then they don't communicate. Like that. Have we lost the plot on human interaction, apparently? So yeah, I've added probably, I could look, but it's not that important. I think 25 people in the last 2-3 weeks. The lieutenant governor of Nevada, the superintendent of the Clark County School District, some other people that work for the GOED, the Governor's Office of Economic Development, or for the Governor's Office specifically. So I'm like, these might be interesting, because what we're doing with the Innovate for Vegas Foundation, eventually I would like people to say, oh, that's what you're doing. Okay. Because right now people don't care. In fact, Las Vegas is not, it believes itself to be the next Silicon Valley, and it's a global innovation hub, which is crap. But what they could do, if they believe those things, is say, oh, you are trying to get a thing off the ground that involves working with young entry-level people to try to build up our culture of innovation, right? Cultivate a culture of innovation for a stronger and more vital entrepreneurial innovation ecosystem. And these are essential items if you want to be the next anything, right? If you want to, everybody's saying, if you're not doing AI, you're falling behind. Well, I don't know how to code, but can I just code with AI and continue to not know or care? Is that going to be sufficient? Yeah. So I'm always disappointed with the attitude, like, show us what you got, which is what I received here when we were getting the Innovate for Vegas Foundation up and running. So I need to impress by doing, I guess. That's the nature of the game. And then I'm hoping that a few of the people that I can reach out to, now that I'm connected on LinkedIn, I will reach out to them. I will not hear back from them, but perhaps they will say, oh, who's working on this in Las Vegas thing, or the Challengers program to recognize and celebrate young people getting involved with, hackathons and challenges, not necessarily coding, but could be anything. So yeah, that's where things are. It's my clock here says 43 minutes, so that's not a bad length. I was really shocked that the episode before this one was from July 31st. So that's like 6 days, 5 full days of not saying anything on this particular audio program. So that's kind of weird. I would like to talk more, but maybe you don't feel that way. I don't know. Do either follow on LinkedIn or whatever, all that crap that people do all the time. If you want to subscribe to an RSS feed, by the way, YouTube does have RSS feeds. You can subscribe to the RSS feed from the Spotify profile page, And ultimately, I need to make sure people can figure all this stuff out. So when I publish a web page per audio program, which will not be the case for this one, they will be under the Dan Hugo banner, just like on YouTube. So there will be Dan Hugo. Oh, actually, it's like this on Spotify too. So there's a danhugo.com account. So at Dan Hugo on YouTube, etc. And then the actual audio programs are channels under that banner. So YouTube at Dan Hugo, there are 2 podcasts and they get converted into videos. I will create playlists for the videos so it splits them up. Otherwise, you just get a big pile of videos intermingled. And then if we actually do videos for any of this stuff or whatever, it'll all just work out like magic. So there you go. Okay, it's 1:20 in the morning. I'm starting to feel it. So that's it. Thanks for listening as always. Don't forget to check out the YouTube thing or the Apple iTunes thing or Apple Podcasts, whatever they call it now, and or Amazon, whichever, however you like to consume your programming. That is how RSS feeds and the whole decentralized publishing notion of podcasts is supposed to work. I think we should have a new name for podcasts. I think the iPod is not really a product anymore. That's the origin of that name. We could switch to, I don't know, what do they call the Fediverse? So there's been a mixture of audio and video. A podcast is now, we do YouTube videos and we call that a podcast. Okay, that's not really. It's not really a TV show. There's no more TV. So there's I think we're still using a floppy disk for a save icon. So, what does it really matter? But something to think about for next time. Thank you for listening as always. Take care. Until next time.